All right, you guys, I know this one has been a long time in coming. I've had so many requests, and I finally got Gino here to interview with me. Now, this is not what we expected, right?
No.
I was hoping to see you in studio. However, welcome to the new normal.
I'm glad to be here. Here.
Sure. All right, for people who don't know your puppy, introduce your puppy as well.
This is Biggie, newest member of my clan.
I noticed that Biggie has been traveling the country when you were all over the place teaching over the last few months.
Yes. Right when I got him, once he turned 4 months, I got his paperwork to be an emotional support animal. So he was able to travel with me wherever I went.
Animals honestly are the best and most pure things that we have. I've got 2 cats, and I'll tell you, even through all of this, which has caused a lot of anxiety, I think, honestly, my cats, I just will grab them and be like,
Yeah, for sure.
They're so amazing. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to kind of rewind a little bit, because this time last year, you were auditioning. We had judges round right around this time. Have you had time to sort of reflect on what has happened in the last year, and what doing season 16 kind of meant to you now that it's all over?
Yeah, I mean, definitely had a lot of time, especially now with all this going on, to kind of realize that what happened actually happened. I've talked to a bunch of the top 10 from my season, and especially Ezra felt the same way I did, where it was like, we saw the season 17 auditions coming up and we were like, oh my gosh, how exciting. And then we were like, oh wait, we did that last season. It was like, I don't know, not like full circle, but you kind of forgot that you did it. And then, because you're used to watching it on screen, so having been there, it's so surreal in the moment that once it's over and everything's kind of washed out, you're like, did that actually happen? But I mean, it was such an amazing experience, and a childhood dream for sure. And it's opened so many doors, and I'm so grateful to Jeff, Robert, Mandy, everyone involved for making it happen and believing in me and the rest of us.
Yeah, it was really, you guys, especially the top 4, you guys really had, I think, a really tight connection. You, Bailey, and Sophie, and Mariah. I could see that just from being backstage. What was like, I think it's hard to explain when you're at the very last show, it's the 4 of you. It plays out the way it plays out. Honestly, in the end, it doesn't really matter. The point is, you did the show and you made it to every episode. That's what I always think. I always think that's a huge win. What was it like for the 4 of you?
I mean, Bailey and I got along from the start. We were both major foodies, and anytime we had the opportunity to eat or even talk about food, we could talk for hours about it. We definitely clicked. He was kind of my hype man through it. Mariah and Sophie were super cool, and we kind of always found ourselves surrounding each other, and it was really cool that we all got to do the journey together, when outside of the cameras and outside of all that, we were the ones who got to hang out and got to do things like that. Of course, everyone was included, but as the process went on, people were eliminated, so it was kind of cool, always having friends there, and just cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always tell people, because I understand everyone's there to win. It's a contest. I get it. It's a competition. But when you get, a year out, 2 years out, I'm like, the point is, you got to do the show. This has been so many dreams of dancers out there. And now that it's not top 20, now that it's top 10, you think about this, you were one of 10 people who got chosen to be in the cast. I think that's incredibly special.
Definitely. It was really a true honor. And of course, you learn so much beyond dance, and anyone that has asked me what the show was like, especially right after you get all those questions thrown at you, I felt like after tour and after all these things, I was able to answer that question a little better once tour ended, because you come full circle with the experience, and you realize every part of it. And meeting all these people, you realize that it's so much bigger than dance, and you learn things that you didn't walk into the show expecting to learn. More about like your personality and like the way you can be and who you should be. And you kind of learn like what people are good to surround yourself with. And yeah, there's so much more than dance that's involved that really can't even be explained through words. You kind of have to experience it. And that's why I think I'm most grateful for the show.
What do you think you learned about yourself doing the show and the tour?
I definitely learned, well, on the tour, I learned that bad things happen out of nowhere. But you kind of, for me, I feel like I really learned that it's okay to be like just yourself, as like corny and cliche and oversaid as that line is. It's so true. Especially for me, I was the type of person that would always try to adapt to other people so that I can find myself being someone that they liked. But I came to realize that just being myself, that it's okay. And yeah, people are gonna, sorry, choked up. People are gonna like you, and true friends will always value that more than an effort to be something that you're not.
You know, that's true even from a press perspective, because I'm backstage with you guys every single week, and I want you guys to be you. I want you to be authentically you. I want to hear when you've had a hard week, because honestly, that is part of the journey. That show is so hard to do, and it's an emotional roller coaster. And I love it when people tell me I had the worst week and I cried all week, because it's we can all relate to that. We've all had a day or a week on the job where you're like, holy cow, I can't do this. And then you get out there, you guys would get on stage and just like nail it. So I think that is always a good point to carry with you throughout your career.
Definitely.
Let's talk about tour, because I went and saw the tour in Thousand Oaks, and obviously you were not there because you had an injury. Tell us about the injury. Tell us where it is now and in terms of your recovery and everything else.
So I went straight to the hospital in Michigan. And I was actually in the hospital for like 4 days. They kept doing CT scans, and it got really repetitive, and they were unclear what it was. They thought it was appendicitis. Because it was in that lower abdominal area. And when I told them how it happened, I kind of just woke up and felt like this pain that I couldn't even describe because it was so like different. That's instantly where their mind went to. So they took me in quickly. It turned out to be mesenteric adenitis is the technical term. Basically, my lymph nodes down there flared, and they pressed on my appendix. So basically what that was doing was kind of mimicking appendicitis pains, but it could have been overused. They didn't know how exactly it was able to happen, but it just flared, and it was like, they said it was really big and not normal. So yeah, I had to be bed rest, couldn't fly, couldn't do anything. I had to drive home for 35 days. I couldn't dance, so that was terrible. I went to another doctor when I got back home, seeing if there was any chance that I can go back, because again, it was one of those moments where you realize that it's bigger than you, where there's people expecting to see you, and I don't know, you had this feeling like you're letting someone down, even though it's completely out of your hands. I felt like I was letting my family down, like the top 10. And yeah, it was just a really kind of dark moment for me. I literally went to 3 doctors, and not one of them was saying that I can even travel on an airplane.
Wow.
So it was really tough for me, but luckily the top 10, they called me all the time to check in with me, and they kind of understood where I was at, that I there was no choice on my part. And yeah, they were really like great about it. And yeah, I got a lot of kind messages wishing me the best. And yeah, it was dark, but I'm glad to be dancing again. I haven't had pain since. And yeah, I'm moving now.
Well, I think you make a couple points. First of all, dancers dance through pain on a daily basis. So that is something you're accustomed to. So you know when it's something that you've never felt before, you're like, this is something unusual. But I think too, understanding that your body sometimes does need rest in order to be able to continue the career. So I'm interested, the disappointment of missing tour. I'm gonna understand that. That's got to be huge. I miss seeing you. How did you kind of sort of push through that? Obviously, the top 10 surrounded you, but how did you kind of like pull yourself out of that place? Because I think that's really important, because any other dancer, anyone who auditions, is out there, may have this moment in their career.
Right. Definitely missing that last leg of the tour was really hard on me. Like, obviously, physically, I was going through something, but I feel like emotionally I was having the same types of pain, and I don't think anyone would actually know, because for me, when I am in that dark place, I kind of just shut out. I don't like spread it. I'm very to myself and very closed off. And yeah, I think it took, like you said, the top 10 having reached out often to check on me, and just kind of keeping in my mind that like God has a plan and everything happens for a reason, whether it seems good in the moment or bad in the moment, that it's all for the greater good. And even though I didn't like the situation, I had to accept it because there was nothing I could do about it. Right. Yeah, I think just trusting the process of everything that was going on helped me get through it.
That's very Comfort. Comfort always says, she's always like, trust the process. She has it all the time on social media. You've moved to New York, right? Am I correct in saying this, or you're in the process of?
Yes. Right now, I'm definitely not there. But
not there. But you do have a place in New York, and you've been there already, and you'll be back there when everything sort of clears up.
Definitely.
What have you been doing in this? Off time, quarantine time, just to keep yourself busy? No.
I've watched every movie. Wasn't always the biggest like binge watcher of like TV shows and series like that, but Rona made me. Yeah. Rona's my nickname for Corona.
Right.
Yeah, she's terrible, but it's also kind of interesting. Like, it's kind of brought a lot of things together, and yeah, like there's people going outside walking their dogs, like things you don't see as often as you do right now. I feel like is a positive side to it, but yeah, just doing whatever I can while still isolating.
Are you taking any online classes, or just kind of chilling right now?
Definitely. My home studio's been doing some online classes, so it was cool kind of going back to the place where I came from. And then just 2 days ago, I took, her name's Isabel Capitul. I took her class. Tonight, I'm definitely going to take Randy and Hef's class. Yeah, I love them.
I love them so much.
Yeah, so it's been nice having different things to resort to during this time.
I heard a rumor about you. It's a good rumor.
Okay.
Possibly, depending when all of this craziness is over, but you might have a cool job in New York, which you probably can't say, but is that rumor might maybe true? Okay. I'll take it as a positive no comment. How about that?
Positive no comment.
Positive no comment, because I know you can't officially comment on it. Okay, well, that's good. Just so people can sort of maybe keep their eyes on the lookout. How does that sound?
For sure. For sure.
That's a good one.
Once everything is out,
done,
you'll know.
Yeah, I actually know what it is, and I'm very excited. I will tell you that much.
I'm very.
We'll have to circle back and talk about it because, and just talk about how it all came about because I think it's really amazing. And so we'll just have to tease people with that, of course. I want to talk just because I always like to hear, in terms of choreographers and So You Think You Can Dance, who do you think made a really big impact on you? Whose words have you kind of taken with you moving forward after the show?
Believe it or not, I'll definitely get to that. But I think the people whose words got to me the most weren't my choreographers. Definitely the things that he's going crazy. That I've heard from Jeff and Robert had, I think, the biggest impact on me as a person rather than me as a dancer. Just always hearing things, because they talk to you on a more personal level because they're not putting a piece on you and they're not doing things like that. They kind of wanted to focus on who I am and who I was going to be outside the cameras and outside of this show. And I think that's why I would say they had such a huge impact on me, because I carried everything they've told me. And I got to see Jeff in Miami when he was here, and we caught up for like smoothies and we just talked, and it was really nice. And he was saying that he likes the person that he's talking to, and that was big for me, because So You Think You Can Dance was so important to me that I let it get in the way of me finding comfort and me just relaxing and easing into it. I kind of turned on this like mechanic of, you need to win, you need to be great, and if you're not being great, you need to work on it. Where I should have just focused my mind to where it was once the finale finished, or even during the finale, where it was just like,
relax.
Okay, there's no stress. Whatever's happening is happening.
It's already been voted on.
Yeah, it's out of my hands. I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna be with my family, and I'm gonna be with my friends, and I'm just gonna do what I do. I think if I had that mentality going the whole time, I have no regrets, because I grew as a person, and growth is more important to me than anything. But I definitely learned that through them. But they're choreographers for sure that influenced me big time. Mandy, everyone, Talia, Jackie. I learned amazing, cool things from Jonathan Redovid, Warren, just everyone. It was amazing. Luther, yeah.
It's like the best dance camp in the world, honestly.
For sure.
I'm glad to hear that, you just felt like you had a lot of personal growth. And I will tell you, just so you don't ever beat yourself up about this, I've talked to so many contestants. I've covered and interviewed, I feel like, just about everyone at this point. So many of them say, I wasn't myself on the show. So know that it is a common experience, and one that people can now look back on. And obviously you're feeling and seeing the growth through that, and obviously prove that to Jeff. So don't ever beat yourself up in any moment. So I've heard, because everyone says it just was, because it's a show you grew up on, you have expectations when you go in, and then all of a sudden it's just like you're in that dream, and everyone deals with it differently. So
I didn't interview it. It even might have been with you early on, where the question was, who do you think is your biggest competitor? And although everyone is a huge competitor, my answer was myself, because you don't realize how easy it is in that environment to get all these dark clouds and make up these things in your head that defeat you more than any other person can, because no one else can really get in your head unless you let them in, but you're already in your head. So it's definitely a huge battle with yourself throughout that process.
That's always the right answer. If anyone ever asks you that, who was your biggest competitor, it always should be yourself, because you shouldn't be comparing yourself to what Bailey
Exactly.
can do, or what Sophie or Ezra or anyone. So it's always just about bettering ourselves. Season 17, obviously, for people who are auditioning, I know we have it, we just don't know how it's going to play out. You know someone auditioning, don't you?
I do.
You do. How are you advising your friend Brianna?
I've basically just told her that you need to let this be your own journey. I told her that. She's asked me a couple of times and even gotten frustrated with me a couple of times because I don't have advice because I went through my own thing.
Yeah.
And she's a different person than I am, so I don't want to give advice based off of my experience, even though my experience was a total gift for me. Her personality, her person, her dancer is someone else. So if I'm giving advice from a standpoint where I was in it, but I was going about it the way that I was and I was me, I want you to have that for you, because I didn't have someone that I could say, okay, you were on it a season ago, like what happened with you? I want her to have her own journey and find her own person and her own love for the show and dancing and everything involved in that.
I know the old cliche of like, just be yourself, honestly, for So You Think is so 100% spot on. And if you can embrace that as soon as possible, it does make the journey easier, because again, they call it America's favorite dancer. People are going to have different technical skills, and the more you can let that personality shine, the better, I always say. And the judges like that too.
For sure. I definitely talked to her about that. Just she's definitely shy. So it's not a bad thing, but don't be so shy that you back away. Mm-hmm. Be more vulnerable than shy, because vulnerability is something that people can connect to. And the words out of my mouth to her were, find your own journey and enjoy every moment of it, because when tour's done, when everything's done, if it graciously gets that far, it's gone. You can't even look back to YouTube to find anything anymore. So
I know you have to record it as it happens, honestly. It's the only way.
Yeah.
They take it off. They're like, the music clearance rights last for but a second. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I'm super excited that she's auditioning. I know she's super pumped, but my advice to her was just enjoy it and be yourself, because there's a million other dancers, there's a million other girls, but you being you is what the show's about. It's not you being the better turner than what's her face, or you being the better performer than whoever he is. You know what I mean? It's just about you.
That's right. Make those judges fight for you. That's what I always like. You show some sparkle personality-wise, they'll definitely fight for you. Yeah. Well, I'm excited because I know that there's a follow-up interview coming once Rona gets out of our way. Okay. But I just wanted to catch up with you since I didn't get to see you, late fall in Los Angeles. But we've missed you, out here on the West Coast, but I'm glad you're going to have an amazing journey in New York City.
Totally. I miss you too. And I miss everyone from like the West Coast. And it was really awesome getting to talk to you and this being able to happen.
I know, we got to thank Zoom. At least Zoom can happen for sure. All right, so I'm going to wish you luck, and I will say until a few more months, I'm going to circle back to you for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Gino. I appreciate it. Say bye to Biggie for me.
I will.
Bye.